National rankings keep naming Charlotte as one of the best cities to move to. What they don't show you is that two buyers can pay close to the same price and end up living two different realities here. One is stuck behind a highway project that just lost its funding, while the other is 20 minutes away with a walk to dinner every night. I'm Mark Weinberg, and for close to 13 years, I've been watching buyers end up on both sides of that gap. And today, I'll walk you through the 4 facts you need to know before deciding if this city works for you. Let's start with what's happening to the roads you'd be driving on every day. Watch I-77 South around 5:15 on a weekday evening, and you'll see what population growth looks like in real time. Bumper to bumper brake lights for miles. Moving trucks mixed in with the evening commute. Charlotte led the entire country in domestic migration last year, and the roads feel every bit of it. But the number behind that growth is worth double checking. A lot of people are still quoting nearly 160 new residents a day. The latest report from Charlotte Regional Business Alliance put it at around 135 a day over the most recent year. Translation, growth has cooled slightly from its peak, but it's still more than almost any other metro in the country is adding. Mecklenburg County's average commute sits at around 25 minutes, and that number has barely changed in a few years. Citywide, the drive isn't getting worse the way some headlines suggest, but commute averages don't show what's happening on specific roads, and that's where buyers can run into problems. The $3.2 billion I-77 South Express Lane project, meant to relieve pressure coming in from the South Carolina line, lost its funding this year. 45 Express Lane on the east side only opened a few months ago, years behind schedule, with a bridge widening near Ballantyne Commons Parkway and a new interchange built alongside it to kind of help catch things up. And CATS, the transit agency, has confirmed the Silver Line's full 29-mile plan out to Matthews is only partially funded, with the eastern leg on hold and bus service filling the gap for now. If you're eyeing a home near I-77 South or the future Silver Line stretch, test the route at 7:30 in the morning and again at 5:30 at night. That easy 15-minute drive on Google Maps can actually turn into about 45 on the rush hour. And it's not the only highways. Step outside Uptown or South End and you're back in classic car-dependent suburbia with a few minutes, no matter how charming the street looks in the listing photos. Test the drive before you test your patience with a 2-hour commute on that day. It can be the difference between loving this move and dreading Monday mornings. And the same rule applies to pricing and other areas to figuring out the number in this video. Citywide average can only tell you so much. Real quick, before we get to pricing, if you're relocating and trying to figure out which route works best for your daily commute, that's the kind of block by block research I do every week. I can walk you through specific streets and drive times you're not guessing from just the map, and my contact information is right in the description below. Okay, back to the video. The word affordability means something different depending on which side of the city you're standing on. Citywide, Charlotte is still a moderate market with the typical home landing somewhere in the high 300s to mid $400,000 price point, depending on which site you're checking. That gap comes down to how each site measures the market, but that number means almost nothing once you're crossing into Myers Park, Dilworth, or South Park. Myers Park typical home value is now well north $1.5 million, up sharply from a year ago. Dilworth has pushed into the high $900,000 price point, up more than a third in the past year. South Park still sits in the mid $700 to $800 price point. Ballantyne's newer luxury brands land in the similar price points. Even though it's tough to pin down one clear number, there's with so much still that is really being built. Those are the prices the buyers are competing against. If you're pitching 2018 prices in Myers Park or Dilworth, that market is long gone. I've watched buyers walk in expecting last decade's numbers, and they end up having to reset their expectations completely. That same outdated mindset shows up on how people talk about the competition for these homes also. A lot of relocation content still gets this wrong, and it works in your favor. That old claim about homes selling in under 3 weeks with a stack of offers doesn't hold up anymore. Myers Park homes now average closer to 8 weeks on market, up from about 7 weeks the year prior. Dilworth has slowed down also, although timing can vary dramatically between condos, smaller historic homes, and renovated single-family properties. It means that even these high-demand neighborhoods have slowed down somewhat, just enough to give buyers a little more room to help negotiate and figure out inspections. So, if the budget's tight, look past Myers Park to the satellite towns. Mount Holly runs in the mid 300 price point. Fort Mill gives you the Charlotte access without the Charlotte price tag, though I'd put a fresh comp before trusting any numbers currently, since the market is moving over there very rapidly. Knowing where the real premiums sit means you stop wasting weekends on listing price for a market that doesn't exist anymore. But a good price on paper can still turn into a bad decision once you're standing inside the house. You tour a beautiful staged Dilworth bungalow, fall for the built-ins and hardwood floors, then find out the roof, HVAC systems are both original to the house. A home can look great and still need a lot of work once you look closer. Citywide homes are sitting longer, about 7 weeks on average now, up from 6 a year ago, and close to a quarter of all active listings have had at least one price reduction. In other words, 1 out of every 4 homes for sale in the city started at a price buyers weren't willing to pay. Buyers today want a home that's ready to move into, not someone else's unfinished project. Dilworth is a good example. Prices have gone up, but homes are also taking longer to sell because buyers still want in. They just don't want to pay full price and then take over the rest of the renovations. If you're the one selling, repair what you can before listing and look at your home the way a buyer would. Dated kitchens, deferred maintenance, are stretching times on the market, even in neighborhoods with strong prices. That slower pace is changing how offers get written here also. One thing that's unique to North Carolina can take relocation buyers by surprise. When you make an offer here, you pay a due diligence fee directly to the seller, not into an escrow account, and it's non-refundable. No matter what your inspection turns up, walk away because the roof needs replacing, and that money's gone with no obligation on the seller to fix anything. Buyer beware. If you're eyeing a project property, get a contractor into the house during your due diligence window, not just for the inspection. An inspector tells you what's wrong. A contractor can actually go over and tell you what it's truly going to cost, and you need that number before your fee is locked in. If you're willing to do the work, homes sitting longer and more price cuts mean you have a little bit more room to negotiate closing costs or a longer due diligence period. That kind of leverage wasn't there 2 years ago, but it only works if you know it's there. So build it into your offer instead of leaving it on the table. Getting the price and the repairs right still won't save you if you land in the wrong neighborhood. Myers Park, one of the most expensive and most desirable addresses in Charlotte, carries a walk score of just 43. Officially, that's minimal walkable for one of the priciest zip codes in the entire city. Compare that to South End or Noda, both served by the light rail where you can live without a car most days. Price and walkability don't always move together here the way they do in other cities, and assuming they do can leave transplants disappointed 6 months after they've closed. Charlotte doesn't have one identity. It's closer to 20 small towns sharing a zip code system. Noda runs on art galleries, live music, and independent creative energy that feels unlike the rest of the city. Ballantyne, 20 minutes south, is more the corporate and master plan built around business parks and walkable village centers that closes early. Drive 15 minutes between the two and you can land somewhere that feels like a completely different city with tree-lined streets, grand old lots, instead of storefronts and business parks. Some of Charlotte's wealthiest, quietest pockets were built around privacy and driving, not foot traffic. Wanting to walk to dinner every night is a different search from wanting the biggest lot in town, and plenty of buyers don't realize that until it's too late. And some of those differences go deeper than lifestyle. Plaza Midwood has been a protected historic district since 1992, which limits changes to the exteriors of its century-old bungalows, but that protection hasn't slowed change everywhere else in the neighborhood. City Council approved a rezoning near Central Avenue a couple of years back, kind of letting to allow more residential density, and is not the only one. Longtime residents and newer transplants are still working out what the neighborhood is supposed to feel like, and the tension shows up in the community meetings more than people expect. If you're serious about a neighborhood, don't drive through once on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Go back on a Tuesday during rush hour. Spend some time. Then again, Saturday night. If both versions match what you've pictured for you, your lifestyle, you found the right pocket. Pick the pocket that matches your actual week, not the postcard version of what the city's supposed to look like. Once you do that, everything else on the list gets easier to judge. Every one of these 4 facts comes back to a number that can look fine until you see what it means on the street. Doing your homework before you buy can save you from some expensive mistakes. If you're weighing a specific Charlotte neighborhood against these 4 facts, email me at mark@allbrick.com and tell me your must-haves. I'll map out a plan around the specific areas, price ranges, and repair costs we just covered. And if you got the buying strategy down, but haven't thought about what daily life feels like here, the video I've linked breaks down 8 realities most transplants never see coming. Those details can change how buyers plan their home search. Until next time, hope to see you around town.